Hey there, crystal lover. Ashley here with the Love and Light School of Crystal Therapy, and in today's video, I'm going to teach you a little bit about how to identify your yellow, gold, and brown stones. So the reason I'm putting these three categories together is sometimes it's a little hard to tell, is your crystal really yellow or is it gold? Is it brown or is it somewhere in between? And so I thought that I'd put these three colors together because you often find a little bit of transition and overlap between these three color groups. So let's start with some of the traditionally yellow crystals. And of course, probably one of the most popular and widely commercially available is citrine. Now, citrine's a pretty controversial crystal because it's natural and heat treated. You see both varieties available on the market. So natural citrine is actually a bit more of a smoky golden color. It's usually a little paler, a little bit lighter in color, and it's very transparent. It's usually pretty high quality, sometimes leaning a little bit more to translucent if it's a little bit milky, but most commonly pretty transparent stuff. Then you also see the heat-treated citrine, which really ranges more in the vibrant yellow, all the way through deep amber brown. And this is actually amethyst that has been heated through a process of heating done by humans, not done within the earth naturally, to turn it from purple of the amethyst to yellow, the citrine. Now, both types are valid for healing. Some healers prefer only to work with 100% natural stones that haven't been altered in any way. I personally don't use stones that have been dyed. I don't use man-made stones or anything like that, but I will occasionally use some heat-treated stones. Now, citrine, because of this variation, doesn't always look the same. So get familiar with both the natural citrine varieties and the heat-treated varieties so that you're really educated about what it is you're purchasing. Now, most citrine that is commercially available is the heat-treated stuff and is a lot more affordable, but if you are lucky enough to be able to find a natural piece and you can afford to get one, they're lovely to have. Now that leads me to our next yellow stone, which is amber. So amber, this beautiful, brilliant yellow, kind of golden color, really the color of the sun itself. And in fact, ancient peoples thought that amber was fossilized sunlight. So amber can really range depending on its locality, and some amber even has different names for different colors. For example, the opaque yellow variety of amber is known as butterscotch amber because it actually looks like little butterscotch candies. And then there's also cherry amber, which is usually a transparent to translucent variety of amber known for its reddish hues. Most amber that's commercially available, especially in jewelry, is Baltic amber or Polish amber. And this is really high quality amber that ranges from a deep gold to a light brown or even a very bright yellow. This is typically transparent for very high quality amber, can range a little bit to kind of a translucent variety as well. But you do also see a lot of material on the market that is referred to as amber that's in fact not quite amber yet. It's actually copal. And copal is kind of like pre-amber or young amber. It's not actually old enough to be true amber yet and doesn't have quite the same qualities and properties. You often see this material coming out of places like Colombia. Very beautiful, can still be used for healing, a little bit different, not quite true amber. Then there's also heliodor. Now heliodor is the golden or yellow cousin to aquamarine and morganite. So you have aquamarine, which is the blue variety of beryl, morganite, which is the pink variety, and heliodor, which is the yellow variety. And then of course you also have emerald, the green variety. So heliodor really ranges from a bright, vibrant yellow to almost a pale, soft yellow. Sometimes it is heat treated to enhance the color, in which case you get a little bit more of that amber yellow color or kind of a brownish yellow color. You often see this, it more mimics the November birthstone topaz when it has been heat treated, because most of the time the natural stuff is a little bit more vibrant yellow. Now sometimes you even see this crossover into kind of a yellow-green color just because this is basically all a variety of beryl, and you get a little crossover between heliodor and aquamarine sometimes. So bringing in the yellow and the blue, you kind of get green, but it's not quite a true emerald green. It's somewhere much lighter than that, a little bit washed out looking. But this is something that you do commonly see available, and most of the great heliodor comes from Brazil. Now there's also golden calcite. Golden calcite is often confused for citrine, especially heat-treated citrine that's a little bit higher quality, really transparent. Golden calcite itself is very transparent and has that same kind of warm, rich golden color that heat-treated citrine has. But a great way to tell that you have golden calcite is because you'll often see little rainbows inside. Calcite has a very strong plane of cleavage within the stone. So even if you have a tumbled crystal, you still kind of see those cleavage planes reflected in little rainbows on the interior of the crystal. So it's a really good way to spot if you have golden calcite. Now there's also golden quartz. Now I've seen lots of things called golden quartz. Sometimes this is quartz with inclusions of iron, which is most common, and a lot of what you see on the market called golden quartz typically comes from India, but you can sometimes find this from Africa as well. But you'll also see quartz with inclusions of rarer and more interesting minerals like sulfur, and this creates an entirely different look, still sometimes called golden quartz, although a more accurate term for this would be sulfur quartz, and this is more commonly found in Asia, especially China. Now that takes us to an opaque stone, yellow jasper. This is a stone that you don't see quite as often. It's called yellow jasper, but it's really more of kind of a brown mustard color. It's a wonderful stone to use for solar plexus chakra work and that kind of thing, but it is opaque, so you can't see through it at all, and it's really kind of a mustard brown color. Kind of is a little bit of a throwback to what you might have seen around some older homes in the 70s and that kind of thing. Very, very deep, dark, earthy kind of color. And this color really mimics and is very similar to the color of golden tiger's eye, except for the fact that golden tiger's eye is very chatoyant. So it has a cat's eye effect caused by tiny asbestos fibers that are trapped within the quartz body of the tiger's eye. Now this really ranges from a bright gold to a deep brown and even that mustard brown color in between. And we talked a little bit about chatoyancy and that cat's eye effect in the first video, all about red and pink crystals. But you'll see that same thing in the golden tiger's eye, which really ranges from yellow gold to a brown gold. And speaking of some of these kind of browner tones, there's also smoky quartz. Now, similar to citrine, having natural citrine and heat-treated citrine, smoky quartz also has kind of an authentic version and one that's a little bit faked. So you have natural smoky quartz, which is absolutely gorgeous, and it can really range from a light smoky brown to a very, very deep, almost black color of crystal. Now, natural smoky quartz that's really, really dark in color is very incredibly rare and very expensive, and it's often called Morian quartz. But then most smoky quartz is commercially available, is very transparent, you can see right through it, and a good giveaway is that it's the same color of brown kind of all the way through. Because on the other hand, there's artificially irradiated smoky quartz. So smoky quartz is actually made when regular quartz is irradiated through a natural and safe process of radiation in the earth. But artificial smoky quartz is actually treated with gamma irradiation once it has been mined. You see this material coming mostly from Arkansas in the United States, and a dead giveaway that you have an artificially irradiated piece of smoky quartz is that it will be very, very dark in color, and normally the base of the crystal is still white, so you know that it's not a truly natural piece. Now another brown crystal that's really interesting is bronzite, and this is a really cool stone because it has little flecks that are almost kind of coppery in a brown matrix. So it looks like a bunch of puzzle pieces kind of put together, but they're very angular little flecks, and it's really beautiful. It's part of the axonite group of crystals, and it is amazing. Really easy to identify though once you see those little copper flecks, but that is bronzite, so it's not quite the same as golden tiger's eye, which looks a little similar, except the shininess, the chatoyancy, is in straight bands. In the bronzite, it's in like these little chunks that are kind of all modeled together, so it looks a little bit different. And that takes me to petrified wood. Now we talked about petrified wood in the first video about red crystals, but you also more commonly see petrified wood ranging from brown even to kind of a gray-brown color. And this is what you see more commonly available than the bright red petrified wood. And again, looking for that kind of granular surface, something that looks very organic, almost like tree bark. That's really what you're looking for here. In fact, in many pieces of petrified wood, you'll even see the tree rings still present in the small tumbled stone. Now that takes me to some truly golden crystals. Now there's pyrite, which is a metallic stone. It's very heavy because it's mostly iron, but it is a beautiful gold color, and in fact is known as fool's gold because it looks very similar to gold. Especially once it's been tumbled, it can be a little bit hard to tell apart from some other minerals. But it's very, very heavy, so it's kind of a dead giveaway, and it has this silvery gold, almost champagne color to it. Now, if you have a pyrite crystal, of course, much easier to identify because it forms little cubic crystals, but the tumbled ones can sometimes be a little tricky. Finally, that brings me to rutilated quartz. So rutilated quartz is actually clear quartz with little needles of golden rutile crystals that are trapped within. Now sometimes these are very sparse and you see just a few here or there. You can kind of catch them in the light. Other times you see this in a really intense cluster, and it actually turns almost the entire body of the crystal a beautiful golden color. This is also known as angel hair quartz or Venus hair quartz because it looks like beautiful shimmery golden blonde hairs trapped within the body of the quartz crystal. So I hope this gives you a little bit of an idea on how to tell apart some of your yellow, golden, and brown crystals. Remember, take your collections out, paw through your crystals, see if you can identify a few that you've been having trouble with, and let me know how it's going for you. I hope that you found this video useful. I'll be back tomorrow to talk to you a little bit about identifying your green crystals, and until then, I'm Ashley Levy of the Love and Light School of Crystal Therapy. Crystal blessings.